Every month a ton of new games come out, and every month we here at gameranx try to at least make sense of what's most worth paying attention for one reason or another. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, new games you need to know about. It's September 2023. Starting off at number 10, it's Witchfire. So this is a first-person shooter coming to us from the Astronauts, the developers behind The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which is not a first-person shooter. This game's been in development since 2015, and it actually started its life as a science fiction survival game. It's honestly so far from that. It's got a pretty deliberate look to it. I kind of like it. I've commented that it kind of reminds me of if you combined BioShock Infinite with Dark Souls. And I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to play out, but I kind of hope it is. It's definitely got a cool style, and it's also nice to know that they've spent a long time on it without it being a development hell type game, but rather just being something that they've been working on for a long time and refining. Witchfire is hitting early access on PC on September 20th. At number 9 is NBA 2K24. Obviously, these are beautiful, incredibly realistic looking games, but they're also games that come out every single year, and there needs to be good reasons to buy the next one. Fortunately, it does look as though they have actually spent some time improving the game this year. They have actually given us gameplay trailers that specifically demonstrate gameplay improvements, which, in all honesty, not enough yearly sports games do that. So we have to give it up for NBA 2K24. They're saying that offense has been beefed up. It's more intuitive. They've streamlined coaching. But so when you combine those two facts, you don't think the next one. Apparently, defense is going to be more skill-based in this game. There's more counters, and they've redesigned adrenaline boosts. To say something that probably sounds overly typical, these things are my jam. Although, that isn't to say that NBA 2K is ever going to be NBA Jam. These are things that entice me into wanting to play it at very least. Again, like I said, until we actually are able to play it, I can't really tell you if it's worth it to upgrade this year. But from everything I've seen about it, this would be the upgrade that would entice me the most personally. It's not just that stuff. There's also enhancements to dribbling and stuff like that. More specific little things. And we'll see to what extent this actually does anything to the game. I mean, they could easily tout these things and have the game not actually be that different. It is a yearly sports game. So the proof is really in the pudding, and the pudding's coming to the PlayStations, the Xboxes, Switch, and Windows September 8th. At number 8 is the Crew Motorfest, a brand new open world The Crew, set on a scaled down version of Oahu in Hawaii. I don't know if this is good or bad yet, but everything I've seen of the Crew Motorfest makes it look a lot like Forza Horizon to me. Now, why I say I don't know if it's good or bad, I think Forza Horizon, probably the best racing games. I love the combination of gameplay. It's just right. It leans into arcade without being stupid. And Motorfest is kind of like a Horizon Festival-like event. That said, there's also been some talk about Test Drive Unlimited, which was also made by the same developers. Well, not exactly. Ivory Tower, the internal Ubisoft studio, was founded by 3 Eden Games people. They were who did Test Drive Unlimited. Test Drive Unlimited is regarded as a very influential racing game, and it's set on Oahu as well. So, I mean, there is a lot of potential in terms of where this game is pulling from. The developers have a history with the location and in making good racing games. And it's also, I think, maybe pulling a little bit of influence from Forza Horizon, which is, out of the 2 Forza franchises, my favorite. Honestly, the potential is there for it to be a classic. We'll have to play it first. It's coming to the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and PC September 14th. And number 7 is Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, the new spy thriller expansion for Cyberpunk 2077, which is also updating the main game with new mechanics at release. Phantom Liberty looks like kind of a real reboot. It is a sequel in a lot of ways. We do know there is going to be a second Cyberpunk game, but I'm regarding this kind of as the second Cyberpunk game because it has a pretty big reworking of the actual mechanics of the game. But I kind of like that this is how it's being released because there's going to be a free patch to the main game that incorporates all of these changes. Patch 1.7 will be landing at the same time. It includes a lot of the revamped mechanics such as the new skill tree, perhaps extensive AI changes in enemies, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Phantom Liberty, which is a new campaign that takes place in a new area of Night City. Apparently, it's more stealth heavy. It doesn't jettison the whole Johnny Silverhand story. It doesn't jettison the fact that your head is basically a ticking time bomb, but it adds in Idris Elba and everything I mentioned in that patch. Honestly, there's a lot riding on Phantom Liberty. A lot of people are expecting a lot out of it. And if it delivers, then the original Cyberpunk is now, healed, more or less. The game, even up until now, though, it got a patch back in June and numerous patches prior to that made it pretty good, but it kind of looks like this is the reset. This is the, hey, Cyberpunk is going to be a series of games that are all good release. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty is coming exclusively to next-gen consoles, meaning the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, as well as PC, September 26th. And number 6 is EA Sports FC 24. What was once FIFA is now fully a different franchise, but it's the same franchise. It's the 31st FIFA game. It's just not called FIFA. It's FC 24. And you know what? They finally did it. The Nintendo Switch version is running on Frostbite. That's right. It's the same game on Switch this year, everybody. This has been something people have been complaining about since FIFA 20, and rightfully so. It has gotten an inferior version for what seems like no real reason. These are not effects-heavy games. There is no reason it should not have been on Frostbite and been the same game. Now, I talked about an NBA 2K point that there is seemingly substantial upgrades in that franchise. I don't really see anything that looks particularly novel to me in this release. Obviously, if you haven't been on for a couple of years, it's probably a good idea. Generally, with the FIFAs, I go a couple of years and then buy one. But if you're a Nintendo Switch player, you're not getting a Legacy Edition, and that is fantastic. Without question, this is the one to buy for Nintendo Switch users. EA Sports FC 24 is landing on the PlayStations, the Xboxes, Nintendo Switch, and PC September 29th. At number 5 is Harvest Moon: The Winds of Anthos, a surprisingly good-looking entry to Harvest Moon, which, as you know, was split off into a different series because of legal reasons. There's Story of Seasons and there's Harvest Moon. They're both different takes on what is essentially the same idea, and both have been kind of not incredible. Story of Seasons remakes have been good, but recently the new games haven't been great. Harvest Moon basically hasn't been good since the split, but it finally looks like they're improving and finding their footing with this franchise with the Winds of Anthos. It looks significantly better than the previous entries, which legitimately look like mobile-only games. They weren't, though, just as a quick note for you to make sure that you don't think that I'm shitting on a mobile game for looking like a mobile game. However, this one clearly takes its inspiration from Breath of the Wild and the more recent Pokemon games, looking like what you might expect Harvest Moon to look like today. It's still not perfect, and I'm sure that mechanically there will be stuff to talk about, but it finally looks like things are looking up for Harvest Moon. No guarantees, but to me it looks like Winds of Anthos is definitely worth a shot. It's coming to the PlayStations, the Xboxes, Nintendo Switch on September 26th. And number 4 is Payday 3, which surprisingly just looks like a big improvement on Payday 2, which is a very well-regarded game, to be frank. For good reason, too. It's a great heist game. Still, to this day. After Starbreeze / Overkill, which is a complex business situation, if I've ever seen one, was able to acquire the rights to the franchise. They did away with microtransactions in Payday 2, and development on Payday 3 looks to have continued that same goodwill approach. Honestly, the improvements to this game look primarily like they are in the gameplay, which is kind of shocking because in my opinion Payday 2 plays, although obviously not like a brand new game, still feels pretty current on account of the amount of influence it's had. Still, Payday 3 moved to Unreal Engine. It's set in New York. The stealth gameplay looks phenomenal, as do the graphics and pretty much everything about Payday 3. There was a closed beta. I was unable to participate personally, but I will be participating as soon as Payday 3 launches on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC September 21st. And number 3 is Lies of P, a Souls-like set in a very strange world. Honestly, something that I needed to figure out the concept of because the name confused me. Don't be like me and get confused over this. It is a Pinocchio Souls-like game. And yes, that sounds confusing. No, you should not be skeptical. There's a demo of it that you can play right now. Get on Steam, play it. If there's any bit of skepticism, Lies of P is super intriguing. If it's all as good as the demo, I will definitely be playing through it. But I'm going to give you the marketing description of the game because it is entirely appropriate. Lies of P is a thrilling Souls-like that takes the story of Pinocchio, turns it on its head, and sets it against the darkly elegant backdrop of the Belle Epoque era. That is exactly what the game is. It's also a really good Souls-like, and I would highly recommend what we're dealing with here, at least based on my experience with the demo. Obviously, the demo only represents part of the game, but it seems, to me at least, that it's definitely on the right track to be a big one. My thinking it'll probably resonate a little bit more with the folks that are fans of the Bloodborne style of Souls-like. I am of that nature, so I have been enjoying the demo. Lies of P is landing on the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and PC September 16th. And number 2 is Mortal Kombat 1. Honestly, I don't know how the Mortal Kombat devs keep doing as convoluted crap as they do and keep putting out good games. Like, this is the second reboot of the series. It puts us in a timeline where Liu Kang becomes a god after Mortal Kombat 11. And there is a story mode, and there's people that actually care about the story in Mortal Kombat. I don't really care about the story in Mortal Kombat. I love Mortal Kombat because it's fun as hell. I was that kid arguing with Billy Madison. Nah, I'm kidding. I wasn't a Donkey Kong hater. I was actually a Donkey Kong lover, so maybe I was more along the lines of a hybrid of that kid and Billy Madison. But that's irrelevant. Point is, the game is back. It looks better than ever. I probably am not going to spend extra money for Johnny Cage to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, but who cares about that? Mortal Kombat 1 is landing on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC September 14th. And finally, at number 1 is Starfield. So you know how I have complained about the creation engine for years and years? Yes, it is the source of the Bethesda jank that some consider charming and others consider irritating. I consider it both. Like, there's times where I find it charming and times where I'm like, why are you still using the creation engine? Well, they finally upgraded it to a new version, at least. And allegedly, Creation Engine 2 is a lot more optimized, has a lot less bugs, and is quite powerful. So we'll see if that appeases me. I just wanted to say that because I thought it was cool and relevant that they finally did like a major upgrade to their engine rather than just kind of iterating on it game to game. But we are not far from Starfield at all. This is a purely sci-fi RPG, comes to us in ways that look very familiar to Bethesda RPGs, but a lot of stuff is honestly I'm weirdly grounded, honestly, for how out there a lot of it is. We'll see exactly how this all plays out when we can play it. I don't have my hands on it yet. I assume that we'll have a review copy and that you'll be hearing about what Starfield is like as soon as humanly possible. So please stay tuned to gameranx on that one. I don't know. I'm a huge Bethesda fan. even though I do have gripes with them at times. And I'm really looking forward to this game. It's big in more ways than one. It's an Xbox and PC exclusive, though, and it will be landing on September 6th. Couple of bonus games for you. Baldur's Gate 3 is landing on PS5 this month. It was previously only on PC, but you'll be able to play it on your next generation PlayStation on the 6th. And Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. This has been a game I've been paying pretty close attention to because I'm a huge Jet Set Radio fan. The game is already out on PC as well as Nintendo Switch. It's quite good. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's landing on the PlayStation and Xbox on September 1st. Highly recommend it. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconHero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.